We're here now to talk about human-centric macro finance.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah, no, started now.
Technology is democratizing the financial industry, making it more accessible to a broader range of customers. How can banking, monetary policy, and financial systems be recentered, prioritize social benefit? We're talking about themes like technology disruption from artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and blockchain, talent competition for talent, reskilling and upskilling, and then the regulatory complexities that comes with governing this artificial intelligence and the compliance with all the data and the security that goes along with that. So we're here to talk now. We're going to start the conversation with technology and AI. And if I can put first my question to my gentleman on my left here from GFH. AI has the potential to level the playing field. Which industries can this be applied to and be most effective?
So thank you very much for having us. I think it's a wonderful panel, and I would like to thank the FII family first for such a beautiful series of events starting from Riyadh. Now, with regards to the question, I think, simply put, all industries are impacted by AI, and most of them have positive impacts, of course, with varying degrees. Now, what I think needs to be done, or let me start with us as financial investors. We have exposures to industries diverse, such as logistics, healthcare, education, and we can see effects of AI across all sectors. Let's give you a simple example. In healthcare, I mean, the tedious and mundane jobs are now being replaced, and that's being covered by AI kind of application, which means more time for healthcare specialists spending time with patients, which I think is a very positive thing. Now, AI also has the potential in healthcare, has the potential to, through analyzing great sets of data, to help drug makers kind of develop more accurate and more advanced medications. And these are just examples, and I understand we are, this is like the tip of the iceberg, and we have a long journey to go. But I think the effect, we can see it across all sectors, to be honest.
Now, we've seen many different companies incorporate artificial intelligence, and I know VinFast and Thuy, you've had great experience with AI. Can you share that with us?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. We implement AI a lot, not only in VinFast. I think outside of Vietnam, people know about VinFast a lot, like, that crazy EV company that at some point was like $250 billion. But we use AI a lot in VinFast. But as part of Vingroup, we actually implement AI in everything that we have, from like mega project for smart cities to healthcare to all the applications in our buildings, for example. So even in our company, we have 3 AI companies. We have VinAI, Vin Big Data, and VinBrain. VinBrain focuses exclusively on healthcare applications. VinBDI focuses on a lot of other AI applications, and VinAI also mostly working with VinFast and other AI applications as well. So basically, we implement AI in a lot of things that within Vingroup that we do in Vietnam and outside of Vietnam as well. Actually, we just got to know from the CES organizer that we got an award for using AI in VinFast vehicles. So that will be officially announced in January at CES.
Nice.
As we look at startups and financial institutions, traditional ones, they were first at a dichotomy. Now, with a shift towards a collaboration, we're seeing moving away from collaboration, moving away from direct competition and into collaboration. Will we see the focus on profitability and shareholder returns take a back seat to something else? And what is that?
Me? Okay. So I think it's a matter of finding the right balance between, like you just mentioned, equality or equitable kind of returns. So I think I'll just quote the same phrase that has been going on stage since the beginning of the conference: collaboration. So I believe collaboration between, I don't want to say governments, but I would like to say the governments, sovereigns, and the private sector, finding and identifying the right framework in which both can be one. And again, as a financial investor, we have the great conviction that communities are a major stakeholder of our well-being. Hence, that the greater good you do the community, the greater good you have for yourself. So again, it's a matter of balance, finding the right balance.
I'm interested to know, Samir, tech is first being deployed in developed markets because developed countries have more money than emerging markets. Will this create a bigger divide between the haves and the have-nots? Is there a way for this technology to be developed in a more equitable way?
Well, let me first say that the productivity question is a real question and one of the two essence of what AI would be doing. And when we speak about productivity, the fact that many jobs actually will be probably not eliminated, but being able to be replaced by the AI technologies would make productivity actually much quicker, much better, much faster. I'll take an example, the research, for example, all the research activities that we are doing. Statistically, 80% of the jobs done in research, and mostly the analytical jobs, the junior jobs, the collecting the data, the reformatting the data, etc., will be eliminated and then will be replaced by AI activities. And we're starting to see it now in many companies. That will lead actually to a much more level playing field among the people and the levels of knowledge that the people have, because knowledge will be accessible to everyone. What remains, so productivity would be much quicker and much faster. What remains is actually the EQ that will really develop and become the most valuable asset that we can talk about. Now then, when we think about technology, of course technology will be developed mostly in the developed country. Well, let's assume that China is considered a developed country because technology will be as much in AI developed in China rather than in the West. And when we look at Alibaba, when we look at ByteDance and the rest, they have the best AI technology in the world for the time being. But when we think about it, technology will be developed by the West, but will migrate very quickly, first through usage, to the global South, and secondly to implementation and development. Think about, the technologies of the smartphones, for example. Yeah, it was developed by the West, moved very quickly south, but the usage of this technology has been very popular and democratic everywhere. So we should not think about who's developing what, but we should think how is it used and is it accessible to everyone or not. And I think that throughout the technological spread and digital use actually that is going everywhere, this technologies would be used easily in the global South. Can I just want to add something? I mean, yes, historically developed markets had the lion's share of developing new technologies, but if you look at the ecosystems being provided, at least I'll speak from our part of the world, in the regions, Saudi or the GCC, the wider GCC, you've got great the focus on developing capabilities in the near future. So if you look at the Vision 2030 of Saudi Arabia, I think I read somewhere that around 2/3 of it has some sort of AI references and AI involvement, 2/3 of the full vision. So that's quite impressive. I think they are targeting around developing or training 20,000 AI and data specialists by 2030. Similarly in Bahrain, Qatar, and the UAE. So I think that paradigm is shifting in the sense. So I think going forward, I don't think we would see the same kind of disparity in terms of the technologies being produced or developed in one part of the world. It's just where do you find the right ecosystem?
Yeah, I I think I disagree with that statement. I think that in the current time, actually there's a lot, it's like a level play field for a lot of organizations. So we are a good example of a company coming from developing country that managed to take advantage of all the technology and bring the products to the world. And I think to Samir's point, it's about application, about implementation of the technology. It's not only about inventing the technology, because technology has to be, put in the products. And I think in developing country, you see a lot of, that implementation a lot faster. In my industry, for example, you find vehicles in China with a lot more like smart features, autonomous driving features, a lot better technology than you see it in a lot of more developed countries. So I think it's actually this level playing field right now in the world, and there's room for companies from developing countries like us to be able to be faster, get there faster than many companies in more developed countries.
If we can hear from Tong Li, I would like to ask about financial regulations and the different programs that can empower more equitable entrepreneurship and SME development.
Thank you, Emily. Please give me a second to say hello to Saudi friend first. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum.
Welcome to Hong Kong. I have been with FII for 7 years, from the very beginning up to now. And all the 7 editions were in Riyadh, and that's the first time in Hong Kong where I'm based in. And through these 7 years, it's a really amazing journey. I have made many new friends there, and very delighted and honored to be part of FII. Thanks, FII. Thanks, Richard. Through these years, actually, especially the past year, Saudi Arabia and Hong Kong has been exploring the cooperations in the areas of technology innovation and green transformation. So this is also integral part of human-centric finance. And back to your question, you mentioned about SME. This is also a very important part of human-centric finance. According to the United Nations, SME account for 90% of all enterprises worldwide, providing 60% to 70% of global jobs and contributing more than 50% of global GDP. So if we are to achieve a sustainable development of a global economy, so we simply cannot ignore SMEs. However, the SME around the world have long been facing a severe challenge. That's the expensive and difficult financing. So is there any solutions? Many countries have been struggling to figure out ideal solutions. I would like to share some views on that. First, from government angle, the policy arrangement is very, very important. It's very, very critical. As you look at China, China has been emphasizing the support of SME for many years, particularly, the Central Financial Work Conference just held in October also make it very, very clear that inclusive financing is one of the 5 major tasks for financial development in future. So, for many years effort we have put, you can see some result coming out. By the end of September, the SME loans increased more than 24% in China. So it's simply doubling the growth rate of all loans. This is outcome. And the second one is some guests already mentioned about digital technology. So better use of digital technology to integrate, to be integrated with information of such as tax data and some supply chain, or some lawsuit data, and so on. So to better, just facilitate the credit rating, credit granting, and to control credit risks. This can solve the problem of information asymmetry. So that's also very effective approach. And the third one, I can think of is the financial market, where I've been in. The financial market should be more adapt to the needs of SMEs, financial demand. And for example, we can just establish a special listing board for SMEs, just to provide a more smooth, direct financing channel for them. Right here in Hong Kong, Hong Kong Stock Exchange has been pushing forward a reform of the growth enterprise market. The initial name is GEM. This will be implemented in 2024. This will better satisfy the need of SMEs financing.
The world's largest EV market, China, 2 cars sold in every 5 are electric vehicles. And EVs are in the process of transforming communities. What is the social impact, Thuy, with this growing uptake?
Well, I think, first of all, it's about the environment, right? I mean, in Vietnam, in particular, 70% of the emission is from transportation. So transforming transportation, making it green is, reduce our carbon footprint, and is good for the environment and the country as a whole. I think we started with making, in VinFast we make electric vehicles. So we have 7 models of electric vehicles, 6 of them already out on the road. The 7th is coming out next year. So we are the one that has the largest lineup of EVs in the world, that for all different markets. We also have 8 e-scooter models. We started out with electric scooters, and then we also have electric buses. And beyond that, Vin Group also, the parents company, also set up VinBus, which is, so we have the electric bus routes everywhere in major cities in Vietnam that transform the whole cities. Because, imagine in a country like Vietnam, in the traffic congestion, a traffic light, and then you stand behind the electric bus versus standing behind a gasoline bus. It's a huge difference to the environment and the people around it. So that we got a lot of compliments for that, for the VinBus as well. Our chairman also recently, 6 months ago, set up the electric taxi as well. So we have about 15,000 taxi EVs and about 30,000 e-scooter on the road. So transforming, transportation in Vietnam as well, and that changed the transportation in Vietnam. So we're expanding that to, in ASEAN to start with, but other part of the world as well. And the same model, in Vietnam we also have a charging station as well. So we're just taking a part of the models to different markets all over the world right now.
We're watching COP28 in Dubai, and 110 countries have joined the COP deal to triple renewable energy by 2030. How can technology be used to address environmental change?
Sorry, I just came back from COP28. you as well, right?
Yes, we do, yes.
I think a lot of us, it's all about technology. about climate change is all about, I mean, in my particular area, right, we see technology in battery for sure, a lot of technology, material technology, design, just a lot of new technology that's implemented in the, either in EV sector or in green energy to tackle climate change problems. So just everywhere you see in COP28 is about technology.
If I may add, well, again, it was said this morning, you know, the whole debate around sustainability is the supply side and the demand side. And we know that on the supply side, you know, there is a debate about fossil fuel and what will happen to fossil fuel and the alternative energies and who is working on what on the alternative energies and how much money needs to be deployed to create the new technology of the alternative energies. But there is a demand side as well, as the chairman of Schneider said this morning. And on the demand side, for example, in some countries, it's about transportation. In some other countries, it's about our other aspects. If there is no technological development, you know, the demand side would not shift. And hence, you know, the deployment of the technology in all the verticals on the demand side is extremely important in order for the demand of energy actually would shift. And there is no other alternative. You know, it's on the asset side, a lot of money should be dedicated to the new technologies that will allow us to have alternative energies to the fossil fuel. And this is called a transition. It's not called we stop fossil fuel and we go into alternative technology. It doesn't exist for the time being, you know, as for the world would need. But the work is on the demand side. A lot of investment should continue to be powered on the demand side for that reason. And I would like to go back to the regulation 1 second to just say, you know, His Excellency Yasser Rumayyan this morning put it rightly in saying, well, regulation is about policy and it's about rules to make sure that you know, ethics, values, consumer is not misused, data are not misused, so on and so forth. But regulation and governments are as well enablers. And you know, this whole shift that we are talking about cannot come alone from the private sector, needs a lot of support from the public sector and from governments and from regulators, and not only money support, but as well incentives, positive policies, tax reduction, as we talked about, and so on and so forth. So the enabler part on the regulatory framework is as important as the controlling part and the regulatory part in this whole shift that we are living in. Whether is it on sustainability or is it on AI, it's actually the same debate that we're having intellectually about partly regulate and partly enable.
Andrew, if you wanted to come in here, I wanted to ask about sustainability and metrics and whether climate stress tests can be incorporated into risk assessment when it comes to making decisions about lending. I mean, this is a question that actually I wanted to put to Samir, but I also wanted to bring you into this conversation if there was anything that you wanted to speak up on.
As a registered fund in Hong Kong, we actually are required by the Hong Kong SFC to put environmental changes on risk assessments on climate and environmental change on our portfolio. And we do that every year. And we found out that, I know today my topic is about agriculture. I know it is very related to that topic, especially when we invest in, well, as we know, agriculture business are quite sensitive to climate changes and carbon footprint. And so that's actually we do on an annual basis.
Before we move into agriculture, Samir, if you wanted to talk about risk assessment.
Yes, well, I would say 3 things. The 3 steps. The first step is data. Nothing can be achieved, actually, from a risk framework if we don't have the right data. And everyone started to collect his own data, and this is a huge field. But now we are seeing, and at COP28, it was announced actually that there will be a utility data empowered and actually invested by Bloomberg Philanthropy, in connection with one planet, to create a utility data available for everyone for free. So now we will have, in the next few weeks, months, years, one data system where all the informations are gathered in and can be pulled out. That's extremely important because it will allow data collection, it will allow the same data going into the risk system, and so on and so forth. The second topic is the stress tests. And the stress tests will be more and more used, actually, by regulators on one hand, and we have seen already the Bank of England, we have seen the ECB having their own scenarios and sending those scenarios to the banks regulated by them to stress test their own lending portfolios and see how these lending portfolios will resist actually the shock that they put in these stress tests. But as well, every bank now is having his own stress test. And in the case of HSBC, for example, we have applied 4 different scenarios on climate change and on sustainability matters, and so how our portfolio of lending will react on each of these 4 scenarios. So it's becoming extremely important that stress testing as part of the assessment of the lending to the economy. The third topic would be disclosure. And nothing can be achieved without having the right disclosure. We have seen that we started to work around disclosure, for example, for the banking system since 2016-17 with the TCFD. And now at COP28, there is an agreement, with another norm of disclosure that will be put in place for other standard will be put in place for all the companies to disclose, and disclosure would be mandatory. And it would be audited. And then people cannot do any greenwashing anymore. People cannot promise something and not deliver it. And people will be obliged to deliver what they promise to an extent, or deliver what the regulators will ask them to do. So it's data, it's risk management, stress test, and then it's disclosure. These are the 3 pillars, actually, of the risk assessment framework that will be put in place for the next few days, months, and years.
Let's talk a little bit about food supply and the investments needed. Andrew, what investments need to be made into agriculture for food supply to be sustainable?
Okay, thank you, Emily. Thank you for having me here. First of all, I'm very glad to get to talk about agriculture because unlike AI and EV and healthcare, probably those are more popular topics. But agriculture is one of the most essential industries for human civilization. But unfortunately, it's quite challenging to price the assets and risks in this sector due to the sometimes very severe and very common information asymmetry in this industry. So therefore, I feel that, evidently the financial world has not been particularly friendly to agriculture businesses, especially when it comes to biological assets and in developing economies. Take China, for example. In all the A-share and H-share agriculture listed companies, their market cap combined only take up 1% of the total market, when actually agriculture industry accounts for over 7% for China's GDP. So it's very underdeveloped in the financial market. to that point, I think we definitely need more attention from financial services and capital markets on this industry, because I believe the only way to so-called secure the food supply sustainability for the growing population is to modernize and industrialize this industry. I know to most people in the audience, agricultural investment is quite remote from our experience, but let me give you an example. The China swine farming industry is a $150 billion business in China. Every year, Chinese people, the total consumption for pork is 57 million tons per year. That's more than half of the world's total consumption, and 97% of which is domestically produced. However, so it's a huge industry. However, China's swine farming industry is very considerably low efficient compared to developed countries such as the USA and Denmark in many ways. There are two major reasons for that. One is primarily, primitively, this industry is quite unconcentrated and unmodernized in China. And second, so it lacks of scale effect. Second of all, the technological underdevelopment is almost everywhere in every step in the industry chain, in every process, including genetics and breeding, feed formulating, disease prevention and control, even fattening. Those important steps are lack of technology advantages, developments. By the way, actually this industry involves much more technologies than most people think. So to improve those two factors, I believe, to leverage the financial power and capital power is crucial in the long run, especially. And in 5 years ago, we invested we did tons of heavy investigation to research on this area, and we eventually invested in an A-share company. It is it got phenomenal change in the past 5 years. 5 years ago, its annual production is only 8 million pigs per year, and now it's 60 million a year, more than 60 million a year, and it's the single largest farming company in the world, and its profitability changed from 5 years ago, suffering a quarterly loss, to last year a whopping $2 billion net profit, which accounts for 70% of the whole industry's pocket. So it's really phenomenal. And its success, and of course its stock price at its peak in the last 5 years rocketed up 7 times. So what's more importantly and more excitingly is this particularly leading company spent $500 million in R&D in the past 5 years, developing all kinds of technologies and techniques and patterns in every producing processes, and which lead the whole industry to modernize. You know, it's a fun fact that I live in major cities in China, Shanghai and Hong Kong mostly, and most pigs in that company breathe better air than I do. because they live in a very modernized farm, in buildings, in tall buildings even, and with very fancy air filtering systems. So it's really it got very phenomenal changes and developments through the past years. So to sum up, I think investing in agricultures can be both economically and socially rewarding, but it definitely requires patient and prudent investors. Because in the same past 5 years, some company got huge success, and others, some even lost $2.6 billion in 1 year, and even committed in financial frauds, and even went bankrupt. That's 3 different companies. So, and those are all listed companies we are talking about. So that's quite risky if you look at it some way. So it definitely, so that facts put us in very serious perspective that we are in desperate need of more industry-specific financial services providers, such as auditing and biological assets assessment services, and information disclosure and communication services providers and such. And also, of course, a more welcoming capital market for more investors to go to the agriculture sector.
I was at a different conference recently, Hong Kong FinTech Week, and was talking to Kai-Fu Lee, and he shared with me that my job was at risk. So I'd like to, in summing up, we only have about a few minutes left here. I want to hear from everybody on the floor. Technology changing the workforce demographics. Do you think that technology can replace human-powered success?
No, I think simple answer is it will replace the tedious, repetitive jobs. But I think this will just mean more fulfilling jobs for humans. But what we need to really focus on, and I know time is running out, is reskilling, upskilling of our current workforce by either instilling AI in our education curriculums or through vocational training programs. And I think, fortunately, we've seen this in our region, whereby you've got significant emphasis on vocational training. You've got universities such as KAUS, I think Doctor was one of the panels earlier, developing and actually using AI technologies in their curriculum. So short answer, I think there's nothing to be worried about. I think positives outweigh the negatives.
Samir.
Well, I would say the reverse. I would say that it will create a better playing level field. It will liberate from the tasks that people, achieve mechanically and learn how to achieve. And it will liberate the energy for more the mind to act and for the humanity to exist. So I think really, it's a liberation that we will live throughout this technological revolution, where the mind and the humanity would dominate compared to the tasks that we used to achieve in the past.
Andrew?
Yeah, in short answer, I think AI will replace a part of human resources success, but we need to redefine human resources success. It will play a different part. And also finance, to quote Robert Shiller's book, Finance and the Good Society, it's a goal architecture science. It's not goal itself. It should serve the proper and righteous goals. So it all comes to humanity ourselves to determine what goals are we pursuing. Yeah.
Thuy.
I don't think so. I think technology and AI can replace certain simpler jobs, but human beings just need to be smarter and process more and do more complicated jobs. I think smarter, at least I process more data than my parents at my age, and I think that my children, when they become my age, will be a lot better and smarter. We just need to adapt But no, I don't think that technology can replace people totally yet.
AI is an inevitable trend, and it's this kind of a technology we have to embrace. And we just try to make it do more good rather than bad.
Thank you very much to my panelists. Thank you, everyone. Up next, we're going to have business leaders and investors from across the world who will answer questions. Will supply chains always lead to Asia? Please welcome to the stage Candy Wong and the next set of panelists. Thank you.